All right, how's it going for y'all today? Welcome to the part two of chess versus chess. So last week I talked about the first three sides on the left side of the chessboard, and if you need to go back and review that, that's fine. Today I'm gonna talk about the far three outside pieces of the chessboard, and we'll just keep on passing on the knowledge to everybody. Also, come by www.watchforthehook.com for your latest apparel. Right now I got on our round one. It was our first design we came up with, so we named it Round One. As always, I don't own rights to any of the music or any other name brand stuff that you see in my video. I'm not promoting anybody, not doing all that. I'm just having stogie life with y'all today. So smoke to that. All right, so the first pawn we're gonna look at is gonna be on the outside right, and it's the judicial system. Oh man, the judicial system. How badly has it done us? You remember in school when they taught you about checks and balances, they said that the legislative branch checks the judicial branch, the judicial branch checks the executive branch. So when you start thinking about it, you're like, legislation is where the laws are made, judicial is where the laws are enforced, and then the executive is the president, the figurehead. But really, what has the judicial system done for minorities, especially for blacks? But carry stiffer sentences, longer fines, worse fines, longer incarceration, longer probation terms. I mean, for us, we don't get justice on a regular. But then that's why you go back and look. That's why Lady Liberty, Lady Justice, she blindfolded for a reason. See, they want you to tell that she don't see no creed or color, none of that. But the person that's prosecuting you sees it. Your state-appointed attorney who got 500 cases like you, just trying to pass your ass along to get you out the way. Oh, here, take that plea deal, man. Take this plea deal. It'll be better for you. Well, really? You starting to turn around and look, and you seeing all these black men after serving 30, 40, 50 years of incarceration, which basically free slave labor, going back now, and they're finding out that they're innocent. So what did the judicial system really do for them? So what's the whole point behind the judicial system? And right now, we've got Joe Biden running for president. I have nothing against Joe Biden. The thing is, Joe Biden, along with hundreds of other people, helped lead to the crime bill being passed in 1994. The crime bill did what? It led to mass incarceration of black and brown people. Mass incarceration. Well, really, we know, if you really look at history, the crime bill was really made to get the violent offenders off the street. The multiple murderers, the multiple rapists, the multiple harassers, the multiple armed robbers. It was meaning to keep those type of people off the streets. Well, in the back end of the loophole, people made concessions, and then basically they rolled all of them into that. So the guy that got caught with 0.27 grams of weed 3 times became a 3 strikes offender for life. A guy that was just trying to do something, a guy that, I'm not making excuses for how certain people make crimes or commit crime. But when you turn around and look at the stiffer sentences black and brown people have gotten due to mass incarceration, free slave labor, that's what they need to call it. Don't call it mass incarceration, call it free slave labor. That's exactly what it is. They've gotten pennies on the dollar work out of thousands, possibly millions of black and brown men over the years. Our next poem, the educational system. If you know who the Secretary of Education is for the United States of America, smoke to that. Because she has no clue. They have fraudulently positioned this education system as an education system. It's not. They're not trying to educate everybody. They're only trying to make sure that they can subjugate and hold back enough people. When you get people that have never walked in your shoes telling you your folks' history, Ain't never been to us. They say a cookout. Ain't never read a book on African American history. Then they want to turn around after 40 years and tell you one thing, turn around and say, "Man, they chose to come over here." Yeah, right. Come on now, dog. We ain't stupid. I remember when I was in high school and junior high, they taught creationism over evolution. Go look them terms up in the textbook and get back at your boy. So what's pushing the educational system? All that old good United States Constitution. Same Constitution that says we got all this other stuff. So you had the right, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and right to bear arms and all that stuff. So you're supposed to get educated. You know, you got to go at least through your 12th grade to get a high school diploma. That's, you know, the United States Department of Education says that. You have to go through high school to get an education. And then they had the rule years ago, no child left behind. And then they made all these standardized tests. Standardized to who? What kids or what adults did you go grab and say, this is what the average kid should know? So if one kid, lights ain't on, barely ain't ate, trying to get somebody else taken care of, trying to get his books together, and then he get to school and the teacher ridicules him because he ain't got a pencil. And at the end of the day, he like, damn, you mad at me because I ain't got a pencil? Do you know what the hell I did to get through here? You see what I'm saying? The United States Constitution helps all those who wrote it. You know who wrote it? A bunch of old white men. A bunch of old white men in wigs. Talk about that. Old white men in weave wrote the United States Constitution. And now, almost 300 years later, it ain't changed much. They got a few amendments here and there. They tried to pretend like they want to make it better for everybody, but it really hasn't. The Constitution really ain't that good for all of us. Let's go to that third point. It's gonna ruffle feathers. That old KKK. Why, in almost 200 years of existence, the KKK has not been deemed a hate group, a domestic terrorist group? That's what they are. They've done nothing but demonize and terrorize Americans for almost 200 years. Oh, but they only demonize a certain type of American. We all know who that is. And where do they get their power from? Good old systemic racism. It's been around since probably around early 1500s. Because systemic racism didn't start in the United States. It started overseas, started in Europe and Spain. And it worked this way across the ocean. And it's worked this way in every crevice of life ever since in this country. But you'll find it hard for people to admit that systemic racism is a really big problem. The other half of the board I talked about last time is systemic racism, mostly at its finest. Chest versus chest. Y'all holler at me next time when I do part 3.